Hi, Dr. E. This is Mark Mullins. This is my video reflection for the chapter pertaining to media. Um, One of the most interesting things I found out about this, I found in this, I found the thing I found most interesting about this chapter is the the broad usage of media to portray negative stereotypes in a direct effort to gain something out of it, or like like Dr. Seuss, like directly how he directly uh supported the war effort, and in turn he depicted Japanese as like drug addicts and just very negatively, and like how a lot of actors like in the 1800s got their start from minstrel. I think that's the word. I'm not quite sure, but it's the cinematic art form of painting your face black and portraying yourself, as black. And this is a big thing. And how, I uh another another filmmaker that comes to mind is Joseph Goebbels, the chief propaganda officer of to Adolf Hitler and the Nazi regime, and he had no problem making these high budget films, and one of them was uh, Hitler's Titanic, or the Nazis' Titanic, or I don't recall exactly. But one thing is, he had no problem making these propaganda videos that negatively depicted Jews, and in support of Hitler's whole mentality, and um, his whole plan or plot or whatever he had geared towards the Jews, and exterminating was the word he used in Mein Kampf. And Joseph Goebbels or I don't want to say inevitably, wrong word, but eventually he got so much power, and he eventually, the way he thought of truly about Hitler and the Third Reich, and he like badmouthed them, like, oh, what, that they, all this is all about the Jews, like it's so bad, like so stupid, and so barbaric, and they're just barbaric kind, and and dumb soldiers, and they don't really think for themselves, and that got him killed. And and I always thought, did he just make those propaganda videos, things to negatively portray Jews the way he did, and did he do that just so he could make films? Because that's what he had to do to make films and get all the broadest, the biggest budget he could, and he spent days and weeks and months on Hitler's Titanic, and it just was never showed. I mean, because it was so terrible. I mean, it was so graphic and messed up, and that whole thing about how a lot of Native Americans are are against the use of uh, the Kansas City Chiefs mascot logo name, or the Washington Redskins. I mean, I'd show you right now. I'm wearing socks right now, or a sock that has a native skull with the headdress on it. Here, I don't know if you could see that very clear, but it, you know, I'm Native American. I don't find it offensive. I mean, of course, it is on some levels when you have a team called the Redskins or, you know, Chiefs. I mean, I know it's bad to. I mean, intuitively, it seems wrong. Of course, you know, nobody wants their race and heritage to be, you know, portrayed or have these names or words or phrases or slurs openly used and supported and, you know, flaunted and, you know, everywhere. And sometimes I see people wearing Kansas City Chiefs shirts or Washington Redskins shirts, and I know, I mean, I'm probably way offbeat with this, but it just get this feeling like it, it's out of spite that they're wearing these jerseys sometimes, because it was a big old thing, and a lot of people I know that you know, follow sports, which I don't. I mean, I like to play football and all that, but I don't watch football. It's just not my thing. It's just really boring to me. But a lot of my friends that do, they say, "What's the problem? Like, who cares? They've always been named that. Like, you know, who gives a shit? Just deal with it. Nobody's saying, oh, look at that redskin, look at that redskin." Yeah, but these are the same friends that made fun of me for being Native American. You know, taunted me or cracked jokes and things like that, and they say, well, just whatever, you know, it's all good, you know, it's just a football team. It's not really negative. I mean, they're pretty good, by the way, ha ha ha, funny, whatever. But then I see all these other people. I don't want to. I mean, I see other football fans, and they're wearing these Redskin shirts and everything, and all it says on it is just Redskins or Chiefs or just the logo, and there's no Kansas City or there's no football. It's just Chiefs, Redskins, picture, logo, headdress, you know, and it's a red shirt usually or something like that, and it's just, you know, and I noticed I always find it curious about like you know, and I'm sure every culture, you know, has their own set of films that is based around their culture. You know, we have in Native Americans, we have certain movies like Smoke Signals or Dance Me Outside or things like that, and that's generally, you know, thought to be like a native movie, and a lot of the natives know those movies, and you know, they love their movies, and they're good movies. And in like all black movies, like the Medea movies or just various movies. I don't know at the top of my head because I'm not really into like modern cinema a whole lot, but I've seen a few ads and commercials, and it's all black cast, and like, and a lot of the times, like, I see that these movies don't even do well, and I think that sometimes I think that there's people out there that think, oh well, why do they have these? Why do they get to make their own movies and have nobody else that isn't black or whatever? What if they had all white cast and it was just strictly all white cast? You know, was that was that because the plot called for it? I mean, if so, then who's writing these things, or are they doing it to send a message that, I don't know? It's just, I think the whole, we only black people in this cast, or we only have white people in this cast, we only have Native Americans in this cast, but a lot of these Native American movies have other people. In in one of them, I recall there was a white guy, and he was portrayed as ignorant, you know, deeply ignorant about Native American people, which, you know, is I don't want to say a negative stereotype, but it is. Portraying anybody as ignorant is, you know, negative, of course. and they make fun of him, call him names, or mess with him, tell him fake stories. They get him to perform fake ceremonies or whatever. They just laugh at him, point, and say, "Oh, look at this goofy white guy." They steal his car, and he's all easily fooled and whatever. Or like these movies with like the Guess Who, the one with Ashton Kutcher, and he's dating this black girl, and her dad is Bernie Mac, and he's just really intimidated by the dad. And the first thing is the dad comes out and greets the cab driver as if he's his son-in-law he's been expecting, and he's a black guy. And he's like, and the girl's like, "No, Dad, that's not him. This is him." And he's like, "Oh, what the hell? What the hell? Like, what's going on?" And it was so they portrayed even Ashton Kutcher as, ignorant and goofy and easily misled and inept at times. And I think that's wrong. That's wrong. I don't think it's. I think they, if anything, a lot of these movies should portray white people as understanding, or making a conscious effort to learn and to gain knowledge and to become gear the rest of their life towards equality, and they don't, and it's pretty messed up. But it's just the way it is. I mean, life imitates art, and there's people act out stereotypes, or they laugh and they crack jokes over their shoulders, looking to see if anybody would judge them as, "Oh, look, they're racist," because they're telling a joke that pokes fun of a stereotype that isn't necessarily negative or whatever, but racially insensitive nonetheless. And yeah, it's just something I found really my thoughts about this chapter in media and the way different races and cultures are portrayed. And I thought it was really interesting, and I'm really hoping to learn more about cinema and TV and songs, and because I write music and I play guitar, and and a lot of these bands they have nothing to do with race, and some do, some don't, but those are mainly like Christian bands, Christian rock or whatever. But that's beside my point. But another thing is there's this show there's this channel my dad watches. It's all about working on cars and modifying cars and fixing up cars, and I noticed they're almost always white guys, and I just always thought that was interesting, that there's always shows about a bunch of like portraying white guys as like the handyman, the ultimate handyman, or he knows what he's talking about, he knows what he's doing, the contractor. And I think there could be more room in these movies and shows to have diversity in their shows and whatever. I mean, there's plenty of mechanics who aren't white, engineers who aren't white, I mean, the Mythbusters have Grant Imahara, and that's all science-based, which is totally neutral, I think. But yeah, those are my thoughts about this chapter on media. Thanks.